Hey yo everybody, Haku here with my review for the finale of Fear the Walking Dead Season 2, and the finale was actually 2 episodes played back to back, and it's going to be Season 2 Episode 14 Wrath and Episode 15 North, and yeah, so let's just go through both of them, give my thoughts on each. I have my notes here, as usual, because it's a lot of stuff to get through, and I'm not going to be able to remember every single little point off the top of my head that happened in the episode, but yeah, let's just go through and discuss this. And just overall what I thought about it, I thought that, in my opinion, 214 Wrath, that is probably my favorite episode in Fear the Walking Dead so far. I thought it was the most well shot. There weren't any real problems to point out. I thought it was amazing. Sadly, though, I thought the scenes were good in the last episode, North, but there was this, and I'll get to it when I get to like that part in the story, but there was this one massive overarching plot hole that just made me the whole time be like, why though? This doesn't make sense. What are the characters' motivations? And it just, there was a lot that didn't make any sense at all because of the one big plot hole, but I'll get to that. Let's talk about Wrath first. I love this episode so much. Because it jumps around so much, I'm just going to talk about the Ophelia stuff first, and then I'll talk about the stuff with Nick and La Colonia and everything, and then I'll talk about the Travis and Madison and the hotel stuff, because that's the most important stuff, so I'll talk about that last. I'll separate it that way. But first up, talking about the Ophelia stuff, we see that her truck breaks down, a bunch of walkers come at her and attack, and we get some badass fighting scenes. And like I said, Ophelia has gone from useless to badass very, very quickly, and I really enjoy seeing her now. Like, seeing her alone is much more interesting than she ever was with the group. So I loved the Ophelia stuff here, even though there wasn't that much of it, honestly. I really liked it. But she makes it to the border actually and finds a hole in the fence, and after that she's walking through the desert when she gets caught by this creepy American dude, and that's all we saw of her. But again, I really enjoyed it and thought it was good. I kind of wish we even saw a little bit more, because I did think it was interesting, but I am glad it didn't take away from any of the other stuff we did get. Talking about the La Colonia stuff, we get Nick and Ronaldo sneaking out with the Oxy to give it to Antonio and Marco and their gang and everything. Sorry, thought I felt a bug on my elbow. But yeah, so they go to give Marco the Oxy, but Marco's like, I don't need it anymore. I've teamed up with this other gang, and we're about to go and steamroll La Colonia. So if you guys want to live, you might want to get out of there. And to make his threats more impactful, he actually shows them the bodies of Francisco and his family. And I really liked, is his name Frank Dillane that plays Nick? I really liked his reaction when he first saw the bodies. I thought that was like really believable, honestly. And I don't know, it was really good. Something about that particular reaction felt really good. It was like really appropriate, and I don't know, I liked that scene. I thought that scene actually did really well, and even the entire conversation that they had with Marco, I thought that it actually worked really well. I actually liked that scene a lot. But returning back to La Colonia, Nick does tell Luciana and Alejandro about the impending attack, of course, and Alejandro still does not want anybody to leave, though Nick wants to leave the Colonia. And then a walker attacks them while they're in there, and it actually bites Alejandro's arm, bites the dude's nose off, bites a chick's finger off, and the fight sequence there was really freaking good. And I loved how Nick, that is the thumbs through the eye sockets and into the brain, is probably the best walker kill that I think I've seen on either of the Walking Deads. Like, that kill, I freaking loved it. But yeah, even the whole fight and falling off the balcony onto the beds below and stuff, I just thought it was really cool. I like the way it was choreographed. Yeah, I enjoyed that, and the fight choreography for this episode as a whole, so on point. The fight choreography with Ophelia and the walkers was great. The stuff later on with Travis was great. The fight choreography, 20 out of 20. Like, seriously, they whoever was doing that for them for the screenplay, they need to keep that guy on because it was really good. It was really solid. But yeah, he tells them about the attack, the walkers attack. The two people that get bit actually go to the wall, and I'm like, it's such a shame. She only got the tip of one of her fingers bit off, just got the rest of the finger off. So, man, the random chick had to die because of that. Then Nick actually packs his bag, and he gets Alejandro to confess that he's essentially Eugene. And I know I see a lot of people saying, why can't they think of creative stuff? They keep copying the original Walking Dead. And this was another thing where I was like, ooh, that is very, very similar to Eugene, where he just kind of lied and made it up. The druggy kid actually bit him, but he said it was the walkers. And he just did it so that other people would protect him. I was like, that is a little bit similar to Eugene, but I didn't mind it. It was its own thing, and I really liked Alejandro as a character. I thought he was really awesome. And I think most of that, too, was the actor. I thought the actor portraying Alejandro did a great job. Again, good acting this time around. And then lastly for them this episode, we see that Luciana tells Nick that she still won't leave the La Colonia. It's her family, it's her home. She's still staying. So, talking about the hotel stuff next, Travis wakes up and Madison invites him to go downstairs and stuff. Then later on, Alicia brings him some food, and I actually thought the scene with Alicia and Travis was really good. I think just about every scene we've had with those two together have been really good. I like the sort of stepfather-stepdaughter relationship kind of thing they have going on. I really like the two characters together, and honestly, they were two characters that I was like, I don't know that much about after the first season. The first season I loved Nick and Strand, but I was like, Alicia and Travis are kind of boring and goody two-shoes, but man, after this season, they are probably two of my favorites, if not my two favorite characters. I love what this season did with Alicia and Travis. So yeah, we have those two talking. We see Brandon and Derek down in the parking garage where they're keeping the refugees, and they're complaining and just being bitches about Brandon's dislocated shoulder. And then Madison realizes who they are when they talk about what happened, that they were in this car crash with a 16-year-old driver from Los Angeles. So she realizes, shit, she knows who they are. She goes and discusses it with Strand, what she should do, and they pretty much both decide, Travis can't handle this shit. He is already a broken man. He doesn't need this in his life. So they're pretty much going to keep it a secret from him. Then, so once they go there, they realize who they're. She tells Strand, they keep it quiet, and then a mob starts to form as Madison starts to take those two away. She's telling them that she's going to give them private medical attention, but really she's just trying to kick them out. But yeah, the mob formed. And then one thing, I think I liked everything about this episode, but there's one major nitpick I can give. And the one major nitpick is they're a mob. They're like, why are they getting special treatment? Where are they going? Why are they going to the front gate? And then Travis shows up and is like, where's my son? And everyone just quiets down. The entire mob is like, oh, where's his son? And this is, for whatever reason, I didn't even really think they could speak English for the most part, but they just, there's quiet down, and they're like, oh, let's immediately stop all the noise from our mob right now for no real noticeable reason. But that aside, that's just a small nitpick. I didn't really think it was that bad of a deal. So yeah, the mob instantly quiets. Then they go to the hotel cafe where they fix Brandon's shoulder, and the two guys, Brandon and Derek, end up lying about what happened to Chris, and Travis catches them in it. So I just the juxtaposition and showing Chris's death scene the way they did with Travis's beatdown of those two, that was an amazingly choreographed fight. It was just the best thing that I think they've shot for Fear the Walking Dead. Like, just the way it was shot was amazing to me. I loved the different angles. I thought that it was genius. I thought that was the best that scene could have been, 100%. It was just, it blew me away. It was the most tense and hyped up scene for me. So yeah, so beyond some small observations that I was like, okay, I don't know about that, I just thought overall it was great. Everything, like, best episode so far for sure, best episode in the show even. every single part, I thought, like the Ophelia stuff, the La Colonia stuff, and the hotel stuff, I thought it was all really solid. So there's nothing I could complain about there. And the ending scene for this is definitely, for me, the best scene in the show overall. And I think it's just a shame how Travis works so hard to help and try and save Chris, and then he dies, like, where he doesn't even get to see him and stuff. And, like, man, Travis, just everything he works for, he loses everything. But, yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I'm giving it 9.5 curb stomps out of 10. But, yeah, 9.5 out of 10. And, yeah, next we'll move straight into talking about episode 15, the actual finale, North. So for North, I thought that there were a lot of great scenes, but there's this one overarching plot hole that just, the entire time I was watching, it was just distracting. I was distracted by the huge plot hole, and I couldn't really get the enjoyment out of the episode that, like, I felt I could have got if that wasn't there. But, basically, I'll talk to that at the end of the first section. First, I'm going to talk about, like, where we leave off, or where we pick up with the hotel stuff. And basically, Hector and Elena carry Travis out because he has killed 2 people, and he hurt Oscar, slammed the door on his head to stop him from intervening with him killing 2 people. So yeah, and then, I mean, we knew it was predictable. I was saying from the beginning that Madison making a rule like she did about whoever raises a hand to another person is out, we knew that was going to backfire. Like, I knew from the beginning, I was like, okay, Alicia or Strand or Travis or Chris, if he shows up, somebody's going to do something, and that's going to get them, get Madison in some hot water. So that was a little bit predictable that that's how that was going to go down. But Madison actually puts down the dead now Brandon and Derek, and Strand says that he isn't going to side with Travis, that Travis kind of did this himself. He ditched Madison and all this stuff. And Alicia says that she wants to leave with Travis if they're going to kick him out, which, of course, by now we figure they are. And Elena agrees to Madison to just let Travis free. They're just going to leave in the morning or whatever. And Andre fails to save Oscar. He tries to do some brain surgery, but of course it doesn't work out. And Madison and Travis have this discussion on the balcony where Madison says some stuff that's kind of weird. It's like she hints at being a little bit murdery even before the apocalypse. It was kind of a strange thing that they're still not quite telling us. So Hector and Andre bust in and start attacking Travis, and Alicia actually kills Andre. Alicia is so badass. I really love where the character is gone. And Strand grabs the gun and then leads them out. Then he gives the gun to Madison and stays behind, which I don't quite like, but I also kind of like, because that way we're not just completely forgetting about all the characters and all the plot lines and stuff with the hotel and just running away and leaving it open-ended for forever, sort of like the hospital filler stuff from the original show. But we're actually gonna get to see more of it in season 3 with seeing Strand and the hotel characters there, because there are still a lot of the hotel characters that I like. Like, I liked Elena, and really I liked Hector and Andre until this episode when the plot hole jumped in and kind of ruined them for me. But we're almost there, and I'll tell you about this plot hole. But basically, they go to the market that is Alicia, Travis, and Madison, and they find it empty, but Francisco and his family's bodies are there, and they're able to find his driver's license with his address on it, so they know where to go to get to La Colonia. So I thought it was interesting that they followed the lead they got from hearing Oscar that time, or no, Marco, not Oscar. But yeah, the huge plot hole, I'm going to talk about it now. Eileen stabbed Strand, for all we know, with the intent to kill him, and all they did was lock her up in a room. Travis killed 2 people, but he killed those 2 people because they killed his son. I feel like that is a bit justifiable, and I feel like most of the people in the hotel would agree with what he did. Now, they won't agree with him attacking and killing Oscar, but it was in a fit of rage, and the thing is, if he killed him accidentally in a fit of rage, but Eileen purposefully went out and tried to kill Strand, even though Strand survived, that they kept her, but they're not keeping Travis, and that would even cause them to turn on Madison. And it also doesn't make sense. Hector and Elena would never turn on Madison to side with Oscar and them. Hector was just held hostage by Oscar, like, not even 2 weeks ago. If he was just held hostage by Oscar, why does he give a shit about Oscar dying so much that he would turn against Madison's group, who ended up saving him? It makes absolutely no sense. He's Andre's brother, so it makes a little bit of sense for Andre, but it doesn't make any sense that they would want to kick them out or anything, given everything they've done for them, and given that the two groups didn't like each other. Elena just said the other episode that if Madison and then them left them at the hotel, that group would be coming for her and Hector immediately. So it makes absolutely no sense. And what makes it even worse is it was completely unnecessary. There was one thing, look at the things that different scenes do for the plot. Strand getting stabbed does only one thing. It forces Madison to go to the market to hear about just to hear about whatever happened with Nick and get sort of a hint at where he is. But the thing is, we could have had Madison go to the market for a bunch of different reasons. We didn't need Strand to get stabbed, but him getting stabbed puts the Eileen thing in there where Eileen stabbed a person and yet they kept her. And it just makes this so bad, because that is a massive plot hole. Just everything was good, but then when you think about it, Hector has no motivation character-wise to do what he's doing. In fact, he would have motivation to not care and to side with Travis and Alicia and everyone. It makes less than no sense, like, how this worked out, and how they're like immediately, oh, we need to kill Travis or we need to kick him out, when we weren't like that about Eileen. We didn't even think about killing her, even though she stabbed and presumably tried to kill Strand. So again, just that is the one huge thing. The writers were like, we just need a way to get Madison to the market, and we didn't even see Eileen ever again. So like, it is just the biggest, hugest plot hole right now. Like, and even going into the future, I think it's gonna have to remain a plot hole, because I don't see anything they can do to fix it. It's like their character motivations we were given, the characters we were actually given, their actions contradict what we actually know about the character. It was such a bad overarching plot hole throughout this objectively good episode. It was a good episode. It's just, that is a massive, massive plot hole that any writer should have noticed. I don't know how they wouldn't notice that it makes absolutely no sense for Hector to side with them, or for them to be that hostile against Travis and want to get rid of Madison's group when they hated each other and needed Madison's group as a buffer like just less than 2 weeks ago. So completely ridiculous there. But I haven't even gotten to talking about the La Colonia stuff for this episode yet. So so Alejandro's dying, of course, and Luciano wants him to lie to the people one more time, so he gives a speech to the people about not dying and everything. Nick leaves La Colonia and he sees a helicopter landing across the border, so he goes back and tells Alejandro about it. And I thought that scene with Alejandro and Nick on the couch was one of the stronger scenes in the show as well. I was really into that scene. I was drawn in. The acting was great. That scene was very, very solid. So we see Marco entering La Colonia stupidly. Why would his group, with all those guns and everything, try to shoot through the middle, climb through the bus, and then go into La Colonia, when they could just systematically open up the wall, shoot all the walkers, and then not have to worry about them whatsoever? Like, it makes absolutely no sense the way they entered. So that, again, is another nitpick where they're the worst gang ever. Because then Alejandro goes and moves the bus and lets all the walkers loose in La Colonia, and they get killed by these walkers. There were almost as many of them as there were walkers, and they had heavy-duty weaponry, and yet the walkers still killed them all. They are the worst gang ever. Like, at this point, I feel like the La Colonia citizens could have held them off. Like, just terrible. Worst gang ever. So Nick leads the La Colonia citizens to the border, and I thought that was really, really cool. I just liked seeing him with that group, and it felt fresh, kind of. It felt like something a little bit new, and I really liked it. So Madison, Travis, and Alicia then go to La Colonia. Alicia, once again being the useful one, finds Alejandro. Madison and Travis do end up finding some guns, though, so that's good. Then Alejandro tells them that Nick is going to the border and they know him and everything. And then the people of the Colonia at the border, they just get fired upon out of nowhere. And Luciana gets shot. Ronaldo gets killed. I really liked Ronaldo, so sad to see him get killed. And then they get captured. And then, lastly, Madison puts down Alejandro. So, yeah, I thought that the scenes were great. There's just the two problems that I have, or the huge plot hole I'm not going to talk about anymore because I already talked about it, and also the ending. I feel like it would have been stronger if we just left it ambiguous whether they were good or bad. Maybe they jump out and point the guns and are like, "Who are all you people?" And they see this big group of people covered in blood and everything, and that I feel like that would have left it. We don't know if they're good or bad, but then having them just jump out and just fire at us, spray and gun people down, that is like showing us, okay, they're obviously the bad guys. And I don't know that I like that they're just slapping us in the face with, they're obviously the bad guys. They might have some reason, like they might end up saying, we thought you were walkers with guns and not that much blood on you, and I don't know. They might think of some sort of excuse, but I think they're just going to be generic bad guy number 900. And that's another thing I don't like, because again, I feel like it would have been stronger if we'd seen Nick continue to lead La Colonia, and or lead its citizens at least, and lead them to try to find a new home. Maybe they show up at the gates of this place and the people at the gates are like, what the hell is this massive group of people with blood all over them? I think, and then again, we would be wondering if this new place we found was good or bad. I would have much rather seen that than just obvious bad guy jumps out and attacks them out of nowhere. That, to me, was a little bit weak. So, in the end, I thought there were a lot of great scenes. I thought overall I was excited and overall I enjoyed it, but it definitely took a lot of the enjoyment away, having a massive, massive plot hole that makes no sense whatsoever. And just, I don't know, I feel like I liked it, so I want to give it 8. I don't even know. Look at my notes. 8, very eager border patrols. I was like, what even happened in the episode that I just talked about for like 15 minutes? But yeah, 8 out of 10 because I really liked it. I really did, and I still can make an argument for it. I thought about giving it like a 6 or a 7 just because that plot hole is really destructive of all the good scenes they did. That plot hole really just hurts this a lot. Like, I just don't know why they would make such a big mistake, and it's really disappointing for like such a good episode objectively to have such a big flaw. And that I wish they would have done something different or just left all the Eileen stuff out, because they could have left it out. Strand didn't need to be stabbed for anything he did this episode. Everything would have turned out the exact same if he wasn't stabbed. We just needed a different way to get Madison to the place, and we could have done that with anything. Maybe we run out of a certain supply or something. Like, I don't know. I feel like that is such a harmful thing to this episode. But either way, and maybe even the future as well if things continue on a certain way. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed this season, and starting with the Walking Dead coverage. Well, if you like this video, comment down there and tell me what you thought of these 2 episodes, what you thought of my thoughts on them. Subscribe for more Fear the Walking Dead, The Walking Dead, The Walking Dead comics, and a bunch more. But talking about what I was about to say before I cut myself off, about what I'm going to do about The Walking Dead in the next coming weeks. I don't think I'm going to have another Walking Dead video this week, well, other than the comics live reaction on Wednesday and review on Thursday. But other than that, nothing else for The Walking Dead this week. Then next week I want to do a video sort of talking about maybe my predictions, or what I think about the predictions and what I might think they might do for the premiere. I will get into talking about the death a little bit. Like I said, though, I don't want to do death predictions because I just don't want to like overthink it so much that it's not enjoyable to me when I actually see it happen. But I will go into and do some light predictions, I think, next week for what I think about the premiere. And then I think the week after that, I might do a discussion as a whole for things I'm sort of expecting to see and what I'm going to, how I'm expecting Season 7 to possibly go. So I'll do a Season 7 discussion the week after next. Next week I will be doing a discussion on, what I think will happen in the premiere. And then, of course, the week after that, I'm going to be doing my review and then predictions for the second episode, because that Sunday after I do the discussion on what I think will happen for the season, that's when it's going to premiere, I think. And so, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Follow on Twitter if you want, and I'll try to keep you updated there, too, on things with the channel, and that's it. So, thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.